I'm Jeff Paur, senior writer for RealTime Fantasy Sports. Welcome to another edition of the RealTime Fantasy Sports Show. On today's show, I'm going to be joined by two of my coworkers, Logan Glaser and Dane Galloway, and we are going to preview the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. We're going to go over all the games, talk about the players we like in the games, give you some prop bets, talk about the over-under, the betting aspects of the game. So we're going to really get an in-depth preview. Really excited to talk to Logan and Dane about these games. Before I get to that, though, I did want to mention we just opened something up very exciting here at RealTime Fantasy Sports. It's called the Best Ball Scout Championship. So this is going to be limited to 200 leagues, $5,000 grand prize, league prizes as well. So here's how it works. This takes place before the NFL draft. All the players that are going to be in the NFL draft, the upcoming NFL draft, are in our system. You can draft them, but they're not on teams yet. As you know, the NFL draft hasn't taken place. So this is kind of test your knowledge. Who are the young players you like? Think they might land in good spots. So it's kind of exciting. It's a new championship we've done. First time this year. The leagues are open. They're drafting right now. You can sign up today. We've already done a couple leagues. They opened yesterday, January 18th. And we are drafting all the time, around the clock. Sign up today. Best Ball Championship, just $20 to get in. Chance to win a $5,000 grand prize. League prizes as well. It's best ball, so not weekly lineups. You don't have to worry about that. Just draft and you're done with it. Test your knowledge. See who knows the most about the college game and can take the best players on their fantasy roster. So that's very exciting. And we're excited to bring that to you this year. The Best Ball Scout Championship. Just go to rtsports.com, click on the Money League link at the top of the page, and you can see that Best Ball Championship, Best Ball Scout Championship, and sign up today. And now, here's my interview with Dane Galloway and Logan Glaser of RealTime Fantasy Sports, helping you get ready for the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. And I'm joined now by Logan Glaser and Dane Galloway of RealTime Fantasy Sports. Both these guys contribute to the site in a variety of ways, including writing strategic articles for us for the draft guide and the site as well. So very excited to have them on. I had Dane on last week. Great to have you on this week, Logan. Really looking forward to talking to you guys about the divisional round games. They got to be better than last week, right? Logan, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we're looking at four really close games this week. I mean, the matchups, you got almost all the favorites won last week. So we're setting up, besides the 49ers, upsetting the Cowboys, but we're looking at some really close matchups. I also really like this Bills-Chiefs matchup. I think that's going to be an all-time great playoff game. And we got three other good matchups besides those.
Logan, Dane, quick thoughts at all on these games? Got to be better than last week, right?
I'll be excited to see that Chiefs-Bills game, of course, but you already know I will be watching the Bengals at the Titans this Saturday.
I got to ask you, I saw the pictures. You were there at the Cincinnati game, and we're taping from St. Louis, everybody here. So he made the trek up to Cincinnati to watch his team play. What was that experience like?
That was incredible. First playoff win in 31 years, first playoff win in my lifetime. Nobody was sitting down while the play clock was running. Fantastic experience. It was the best.
All right, good stuff. So we're going to get into these games. We're going to talk a little bit about the matchups, who we like in the games, the lines. Logan also, he's a great prop bet guy. He participated in several of these events in the fantasy industry and done very well. So we're going to get his thoughts on some prop bets from each game. Dane and I are going to break down the games as well, talk about some fantasy players too. So let's jump right into it. First one is Dane's Cincinnati Bengals travel to Tennessee. The line right now, 47 is the over-under. 3.5 is the point spread for this game. Dane, let me get your thoughts first. This is your team. You were at the game live last week. What do you think is going to happen here?
There's two very interesting matchups in this game. So the Bengals have a fantastic passing attack, two elite receivers in Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. The Titans have struggled to contain wide receivers all year from a fantasy perspective. Bengals receivers have been fantastic this year. So it could be a lot of air attack for the Bengals, a lot of points on the board there. But what's even more interesting is the return of Derrick Henry for the Titans. He's expected to return after missing multiple weeks with a foot injury. And the Bengals run defense that started the year off pretty strong They continue to struggle to a degree and fall apart. They lost Larry Ogunjobi for the rest of the playoffs to a foot injury. That's a key cog on their defensive front. He's a big run stopper. So Derrick Henry, if he's at full strength, he could get a lot of touches and he could do a lot of damage on the ground.
So who are you picking in this game? What do you think is going to happen with your Bengals?
I think it'll be real tough for Joe Burrow in his first playoff game on the road, but I can't pick against them. I've liked them the whole time against the Titans. I think that they can pull this off. I think the Titans are a pretty weak 1 seed. Further down the road, I think the Bengals could run into some troubles, but I like them here over the Titans.
All right, Logan, let me get your thoughts on this Cincinnati-Tennessee game.
Yeah, so my prop bet for this game is Brian Tannehill over 235 passing yards. So he has averaged 235 passing yards per game, but with Derrick Henry in the lineup, with, as Dane mentioned, his return, he's averaging 250 yards per game. So he's actually averaging more yards per game with Henry in the lineup because the defense has to keep an eye on Henry on those. And the Bengals rank 27th in the NFL in passing defense, giving up over 250 yards against the pass. So I kind of like Ryan Tannehill to go over 235 passing yards in this game. I do think there's going to be a lot more points. I like the over on the 47 as well. I think it's going to be 2 passing teams going at it and putting up points.
I like that call on Ryan Tannehill. I agree. I think he could throw for some yards. It's really interesting to hear that, though, that he actually averages more yards per game throwing the ball when Henry's in the lineup. Just proves how valuable Henry is to that team and that offense. For me, I like Tennessee just slightly. I do think it's going to be the over. I think it'll be a close game. I could see Tennessee winning by about 3 points. I liked Cincinnati last week more so. I talked about this with Dane when we previewed the wild card games, but I'm a little worried about that Bengals defense, a little beat up right now, have a lot of injuries on that side of the ball. So that's a concern for me. I think Tennessee's going to squeak it out. I love the passing game in Cincinnati still, though, for the reasons Dane mentioned. Tennessee's not very good against the pass. I love Jamar Chase. He had 12 targets last week, 100-yard games, 3 of 4. Tennessee allows the second most fantasy points to receivers as well. And with the Tennessee Titans, maybe a deep shot here for DFS. I like Anthony Ferguson a little bit this week. He has not had the breakout season most people thought he would, but he has touchdowns 2 straight games. I think much like Derrick Henry helps the offense, I think having a healthy A.J. Brown and Julio Jones in the lineup helps Anthony Ferguson create some room in the middle of the field. Cincinnati also allows the 6th most fantasy points to tight end. So again, I think this will be a close game, as all of them will be this week. Let's dive into the next one on Saturday, 7:15 our time Central. San Francisco at Green Bay. The line is 47.5. Green Bay is favored by 6 points in this matchup. Again, I think it'll be a good game. Might be closer than that -6 that Green Bay is favored by. Let me go to you first, Logan, on this one. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, so a lot of sharps for the betting industry are on the 49ers this week, actually over the Packers, just because of their run attack against the Packers. But the prop that I'm going to be going with is Packers to win by 1 to 6 points at plus 320 odds. I do think the Packers end up winning this game, and I believe it will be closer than the 6 points. So I want to get that between 1 and 6 points wins for the Packers. And if you're looking at a betting standpoint, it's much better to bet on the Packers between this 1 and 6 or 7 and 12 than straight up money line where it's -265. So from a betting standpoint, you want to look at this because it should be a close game this week. And I like it between those numbers.
All right, Dane, what about you? What are your thoughts on this matchup between San Francisco and Green Bay?
San Francisco can't run into much of a tougher matchup here playing in Green Bay. This is Aaron Rodgers at his best playing at Lambeau in the winter. Packers get a huge boost this week with the return of staple left tackle David Bakhtiari. He's been out for quite a while with an injury, but Aaron Rodgers getting his main blindside protector back, that's going to be a huge boost to an offense that doesn't need a boost to begin with. They've got the reigning MVP in Rodgers. I think that Green Bay comes out on top here. I think you'll see what we've seen all year. Rodgers to Davante Adams is the main point of attack here. They've got the split backfield now more so. It used to be Aaron Jones as the lead back, but seeing a lot of A.J. Dillon here. I think that's good for the team. It's not as great as for fantasy, but the potent attack between Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, pretty good for getting the run game going to go along with classic Rodgers to Davante Adams pairing.
So I like Green Bay as well in this matchup at home. I think it's going to be tough for San Francisco to go on the road. Cold conditions, most likely. Green Bay's tough at home. That defense is really good. Like you said, they're getting healthy on the offensive line as well. Another big plus for that offense. I actually think they might cover that 6. I like this San Francisco team a lot, but I think it's asking a lot to go on the road. Jimmy Garoppolo, even though they had that big league last week, he looked a little shaky. Throwing that pick 6 was not good for him at all in that matchup. If they're going to have success, though, I think they're going to have to get George Kittle a lot more involved. So I'm anxious to see his touches this week, his targets. He has fewer than 30 yards 4 straight games. He had 7 receptions for 92 yards in week 3 against his Packers team. So I think they're going to need to get him involved. I think we'll have a good matchup. I love the Packers passing game in this one. Really like Aaron Rodgers. He had an MVP season once again, 40 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions. He has at least 22 fantasy points, 6 of 7 games. He was 23 of 33 for 261 yards, 2 touchdowns against this same 49ers team. So I look for Green Bay to win this one. I think they might cover, and I still think it'll be a good game, but I think Green Bay pulls away in the end, might pull away late in the fourth quarter. And the next game on the slate is the LA Rams at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Over-under is 48.5 on this one, looking for a fairly high-scoring game. -3 in favor of Tampa Bay. So that's pretty much saying that Vegas thinks this is about even matchup. Usually they give 3 points to the home team. So this should be a good game again. We've talked about all these games being really good, but Rams, Tampa Bay, can Tom Brady do it again? Logan, what do you think?
Yeah, I think this is a toss-up game, just like you mentioned. These are two very even teams. Tampa Bay's coming into this game a little hurt. They got a couple of questionable players. You're missing Chris Godwin and Antonio Brown, a little weak on wide receivers. But on the other side, the Rams are coming in, getting healthier. They got Cam Akers back. They're starting to gel a lot better. So I think it's going to be a really close game, in my opinion. For my prop bet for this matchup, I'm going to go with the longest successful field goal under 46.5 yards. So Ryan Suckup for Tampa Bay, his long on the season is 48. He has not made a field goal over 50 yards in over 3 years. So you're looking at a 3-yard range that they have to get stopped at to get that field goal. Where Matt Gay, he's probably one of the better kickers in the NFL. He's made at least a 47-yard field goal or more in 6 of the 17 games. So if you compare those two kickers together, they combine for 7 out of 17 games to kick a field goal over 47 yards in the matchup. So that's about a 41% conversion rate. So I'm going to take the under on that and hope that no long field goals get made.
I love that, especially because Tampa Bay, Tom Brady doesn't like kicking field goals. I don't think either of those teams kicking field goals. So I like that call, Logan. Dane, what do you think happens in this matchup?
So I think I'll go with my second road dog here. I think the Rams can pull this one out. So Tampa Bay is just falling apart as far as player health goes. So both physical and maybe mental. Antonio Brown left the team. You're missing Chris Godwin. The offensive line has sustained multiple injuries too. They have 3 offensive linemen questionable heading into this game. That's not what you want when you're going up against Aaron Donald. So Rams are coming in. They're getting stronger. They're working Odell into the system, scored a touchdown. He's been playing really well as of late. So Rams coming in strong. Cam Akers back. I think they can pull this one out on the road against a Tampa Bay team that's starting to look weaker than they did week 1. So
yeah, I'm the same way. I have to wonder when this Brady magic's going to run out because, like you said, a lot of injuries, key injuries on that offensive side of the ball. 2 of the top 3 receivers out, plus the running back situation, which you didn't mention, which scares me too. Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones also banged up. They might not play again, and I think that hurts him. Leonard Fournette was playing some great football early in the year. But even with that said, I'm still going with Tampa Bay. I think it'll be a really close game. I would not be surprised if the Rams win it, but I think I can't bet against Brady in this matchup at home. I think he'll win this and lose next week at Green Bay. So I'm going with Tampa Bay. I think it'll be a high-scoring game. I think it might be over that 47 mark, in my opinion. I know both these defenses are pretty good, but I think they're going to throw the ball a ton. Both teams, especially Tampa Bay, they threw the ball 55 times last time against the Rams. I know they got down big. That's why they threw a lot of band in the run. But even with that said, they don't have a good running back situation right now. I think they're going to throw a lot. I love Mike Evans. He had a 100-yard game his first time against the Rams. He has touchdowns 3 straight games as well. I look for him to do well again. And with the Rams, if you're looking for a DFS play that might be cheaper than some of the other options, kind of intrigued by Van Jefferson. I think they'll be focused on shutting down Beckham and Cup. I think this may create some favorable matchups for Jefferson in the passing game. Tampa Bay is just 21st against the pass as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if Jefferson breaks off a big play or two in this one. All right, last game of the day, guys. Last game of the weekend, I should say. Buffalo at Kansas City. This should be just a tremendous game. 54.5 is the over-under. So obviously, Vegas is thinking a lot of points in this one. Kansas City's a 2-point favorite. So that means that maybe Buffalo might be a little bit favored in Vegas's eyes because Kansas City's getting that just 2 points, not 3, which is usually the standard when it comes to home road splits. So Buffalo, Kansas City looking pretty even here. I'll start with you this time, Dane. What do you think happens in this matchup?
I think that this game is set for the over. I think you could see 30 points easy on both sides here. One thing to look for is the Chiefs love to blitz, and Chiefs love to blitz. So if you're giving Josh Allen time to move in the pocket, time to roll out and find receivers, there could be a lot of damage done there. So I like Josh Allen to put up huge passing numbers again, but I still like the Chiefs overall at home in this game. Arrowhead's a fantastic home environment. Chiefs got potentially the best quarterback in the league, Patrick Mahomes. A lot of great guys on top this year, but I like the Chiefs at home here in a very close matchup, high scoring, fun to watch game.
All right, Logan, what are your thoughts on this Bills-Chiefs game?
Yeah, I agree. This is going to be a matchup that everyone's going to be tuned in to watch. I think the winner of this game will end up winning the AFC championship and go on to the Super Bowl. My prop bet for this game is a Devin Singletary anytime TD at -104. It's one of the best Bills odds for a touchdown, and there's going to be points in this game. And Singletary has scored a touchdown in each of his last 5 games. He's got 7 touchdowns in his last 5 games, and they've been really stressing to get him the ball in the last couple of matchups. And you can see that based off how many times he's been touching the ball and he's finding the end zone. And at those odds with how many points are going to be put up in this game, I like him to find the end zone.
I like that too. I like Singletary. They have been really getting them involved. They're not really using any other back right now too. So I think that bodes well for that anytime touchdown also. So for me in this game, really tough call. I mean, I was all in on the Chiefs, but after watching the Bills just destroy New England last week, it just made me have second thoughts a little bit about it. But I'm still going to stick with the Chiefs in a close game. I think it'll be super high scoring. That 54.5 is really high though. Both those defenses have kind of underrated again, in my opinion, too. So I think it might be under that 54.5, but it'll be close. That might be one I stay away from. But I do like the Chiefs to squeak it out at home. I kind of like Jerick McKinnon still. I know it's cloudy, that situation with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Darrell Williams as well. You don't know about those two guys, but I think Jerick McKinnon's going to be involved after last week. He had 6 receptions earlier this year against the Bills as well. So I think that's a good sign for McKinnon. He's a very good pass catching back. I think they'll get him involved, especially after playing so well last week, even if Edwards-Helaire is in the picture. And with Buffalo, I like Gabriel Davis. He actually led the Bills receivers in snaps last week with 71% of the snaps played, scored a touchdown, just 2 catches for 41 yards, but he found the touchdown. He's a good red zone threat for that team. Kansas City allows the 12th most fantasy points to receivers for the season. So I think you want to get all those Bills receivers involved, but I really like Davis for this week. Should be just a great matchup. Guys, I really appreciate you joining me. This was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the games this week. Any last thoughts at all before I let you guys go? Dane, you want to go first?
Leaning on these 2 road dogs is maybe not something I'd recommend for everybody, but I can't get my heart off the Bengals. I think they can pull it out. I really do think they can win there in Tennessee. But if you're going to bet a road dog this weekend, I think I'd lean more towards the Rams in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, just one road dog last week. I picked 2. I was 5-1 on my picks. Tough to win on the road, especially at this point. But like we've mentioned time and time again, these should be some great close games. Logan, how about you? Any last thoughts before I let you go?
Yeah, I agree. We've got 4 very close games. Make sure to get on the action, join some overtime leagues. We got playoff challenge leagues, still got daily drafts going on. Make sure you get in. Everyone's going to be watching football this weekend. Make sure you're there.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of stuff still going on here for playoff leagues. We have these second chance leagues that we're running here at RealTime Fantasy Sports. Get in the action. All right. Dane, Logan, thanks again for joining me. We'll have to do it again. Maybe we'll do it for the championship game. Should be great next week as well. Thanks a lot for joining me. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Jeff.
And that was my interview with Logan Glaser and Dane Galloway of RealTime Fantasy Sports. I want to thank those guys for joining me, getting you ready for the playoff games this weekend. Should be an exciting week of games. As I mentioned, my opener too, don't forget we already have leagues open for 2022. We have our new Best Ball Scout Championship. Should be a lot of fun. Limited to 200 leagues. It takes place before the NFL draft. You can draft players that are in the NFL draft in the upcoming draft. They're not on teams yet, so you have to kind of fly by the seat of your pants, take the best players out of those rookies that you think are going to produce big in their rookie season. So it's a lot of fun. $20 to get in, chance to win $5,000 plus league prizes as well. rtsports.com, click on the money links. You can sign up for the Best Ball Scout Championship. This has been Jeff Paur for RealTime Fantasy Sports. Have a great day.